Hi, welcome to Knitting with Frogginette. My name is Lisa. I'm a knitwear designer who focuses on baby and children's knitwear. I hope you are well. As usual, it's been a little while since my last video. I do have a few things to show you. I've been knitting quite a bit, including working on my new collection. And I'll talk a little bit about it at the end of the podcast, just before the gardening beauty shots. But for now, I'm gonna jump right in and talk about finished objects. So I actually only have one finished object to show you today. I have more than that actually on my finished pile, but those are the new designs for my new collection, and I kind of want to keep them under wraps a little bit. I've been showing a couple teasers on Instagram. If you want to check that out, you can go to Instagram. My handle is Frogginette, 2 G's, 2 T's. And but as far as personal knitting, I have finished a shawl. It's the Lilli Pilli shawl by Ambah O'Brien, and here it is. It's really gorgeous mix of garter stripes with very sort of modern but intricate lace pattern, and yeah, I've been wearing it, and I just think it's really gorgeous. So you can see it's really long. Put it around my neck. I really enjoyed knitting it. It took me a while, actually. I think I could have done it maybe a little bit shorter. See, it has this really cool stripe at the end there, which sort of can hang in front, and then the other stripe is in the middle of the shawl. I mean, I guess it's more of a stole because it's like rectangular. I mean, it's not rectangular, but you know what I mean. It doesn't have a V point. So what I like is that when you do this, like a scarf, you know, you can have part of that lace kind of cutting through all these nice garter stripes, and you can really have fun with colors, you know. And yeah, I tend to wear my scarves really kind of almost like a neck brace because I love feeling really warm in the winter and having everything tucked in. I don't like to have pieces of scarves like floating around too much, and then I have to constantly readjust them. But yeah, the pattern itself was, you know, really well written, nice charts and written instructions, everything you might need. The only tricky bit, I think, is that, well, the lace sections, they're not hard, but, you know, they're not really TV knitting, and I do this usually, all personal knitting I do, for the most part, in the evenings when we were watching TV. At the end of the day. So this was more of a weekend project because I had to focus on the pattern. I couldn't really memorize it really, but I mean, it's not hard. What else can I say? Oh, the blocking was a little bit tricky for me. I don't really have much experience blocking shawls, and as you can see, this is sort of worked on the diagonal. See? So you're always increasing and decreasing to get this sort of shape. And so when you're blocking, you want these edges here to be nice and sort of stay nice and parallel to each other, right? Because I'm really having trouble showing. Anyway. Yeah, so you want it to look nice and crisp, and so what I did is I just used our bed. I made sure that it was almost dry, it was just damp, and then we have a king-size bed, so I laid down this shawl, which is really long, and sort of tried to use many pins until the shape was basically the way I wanted it. And it worked quite well, and I think that, yeah, since I do own blocking wires somewhere, but of course I couldn't find them, and I was in a hurry to block the shawl because once you're done with something, you just want to wear it already. So yeah, that is my first FO. I would definitely recommend it. I'm really happy with the colors. It's a little bit Swedish or IKEA or something, but I think it's really cool anyway. I mean, the yellow is a little bit more orangey, so I think it's all right. And what yarns did I use? Their fingering weight. I don't remember exactly. I think the blue and the gray, the pale gray, were a uncommon thread base, but I don't remember exactly what it was. And then the yellow, I think it was a Madeleine Tosh Merino Light, and I believe this colorway is called Candlewick. It's sort of this really beautiful golden, yellowish color that just cuts through but is not too in your face. So yeah, I think that was a nice choice for this scarf. So that is what I can show you as far as finished objects for this video, and I have quite a few works in progress though. My first work in progress project that I want to show you is a sweater by Camilla Vad, who is, I believe, from Denmark, I think. She's really famous designer. She's done like the Magnolia cardigan and sweater, and like she basically did a bunch of patterns based on that same basic pattern. And this one that I just saw it, and there wasn't like a million projects for it, unlike the other patterns that she has, and I just still really fell in love with it. And I have basically done the body and the sleeves, and unfortunately it's a huge tangled mess right now because it's been sitting in my knitting basket for a long time, and I'm about to join, let me show you, I'm about to join the body and the sleeves and start the yoke. So, oh my god, it's so hard to show. There you go. So sorry about all the messy, sort of contraptions. Oh, it's not very pretty here. So yeah. So as you can see, it's quite a, colorwork heavy project. It's like all over colorwork. There's a little bit of a more plain neckline, I guess. I'll show some pictures of the pattern photo so you can see. And but the rest is all over colorwork, which I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And I knew this was the project. And I have found it really addictive to work. I guess I'm finding colorwork more and more addictive these days. Like, it's just really fun. And playing with colors has been really fun. I mean, I've had to sort of unknit things a little bit here and there because, the colors that I thought would be perfect were not so perfect. And, I really wanted to be proud of this and to wear this a lot. So, I didn't hesitate to just frog, a few inches if I thought that it wasn't the way I wanted it. Basically, I wanted to have a really strong contrast, but then as you go up to the top, I want the contrast to be quite a bit less here. But I still want it, you know, to be visible, like this pattern. I still wanted it to pop out a little bit, but just a little, you know, just slightly. So I think this color scheme worked out pretty well. I hope that I have enough of each color. I've been living very dangerously. I have been using yarns, sort of bits and bobs that I think are from the same ball, but they're just tiny little balls that I've sort of gathered, and it looks the same to me, so hopefully it is the same. We'll just have to see. And this is interesting because this colorwork project, I wanted to not use, this time I wanted to try something different and use sort of this very smooth type of yarn. So if you can see, you get this very smooth finish. Like it's not one of those sort of woolly, you know, hairy, quote unquote, yarns. It's just those, you know, these are just basically merinos, just quite twisted, I guess. And so, yeah, you get this really sort of very smooth, very sort of clean, crisp finish. But of course, on the other side, it doesn't have this sort of property of velcroing to each other, like the strands here. When you use a more sort of woolly yarn, if that makes sense, after a while you get this kind of layer that sort of everything sort of attaches to each other, and it actually is better, I think, for durability and probably for warmth. Although of course I'm not worried about warmth with this. Like there's like quite a nice thick layer of fabric here. I think it's going to be plenty warm. But anyway, so it's just a different kind of colorwork project. Like I was working on an Icelandic sweater before, and using this Let Lopi yarn, and that's a completely different experience, knitting colorwork with these kinds of yarns. So what to say about this? Well, I modified the pattern a bit. Like, so this is supposed to be quite cropped, and I like that. Like I find that it makes it a little bit more modern, especially for sort of this intense, like all over colorwork thing. I want it to be a little bit, you know, relatively form-fitting, like not baggy, and I wanted it to be cropped. And the sleeves are supposed to be sort of this length, you know, sort of, I guess that's what, 3/4 length. And so I, even with that being something I was on board for, I found that the length of the sleeves was just really short for me. So I added, you know, what did I add? Like this repeat here. I think I added this much, and I think I made the cuffs a tiny bit longer. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. And then I did the same with, did I do the same with this? Yes, I did the same on this end. Made this a little bit longer, but very slightly. So I'm really crossing my fingers now that I'm at the exciting part where you know, join the sleeves to the body and start doing the collar work all in the round here. I can't wait to be able to try it on and make sure that it fits well. Like, I'm not worried about the neckline because I know that, you know, that can be tweaked very easily if I find it a little bit too tight or anything like that. I just hope that it's not just too short, that I'm not constantly sort of pulling on it. I do think it's going to grow a little bit because of the yarn I used. But yeah, it also, I guess, will depend on the depth of the shoulders, because if it's a little bit longer than average, then it would pull the whole sweater down a little bit and it would make the whole thing a little longer. So yeah, we'll just go with it and see what happens. So as far as the yarn that I used, there was a lot of different yarns that I had that I thought had a pleasing effect together. I mean, there's some Wollmeise, there's some, oh, what is that other brand? I'll try to put in the description below the yarns that I do remember, but some of them I just don't remember what they were. I think there was even a little bit of Debbie Bliss Baby Cashmerino in there. And you know what? It's funny because some of the yarns are not exactly the same thickness. Like, I kind of went by feel, but you can tell that, you know, there's a difference here between this part, the green bit here, and then here, where it doesn't fill quite as much as this. So, because this is the Debbie Bliss, I think, Baby Cashmerino, which is, you know, kind of sport weight, almost a DK. Whereas this, I think that's the Wollmeise, and I believe that's a true sport weight. So it's thinner, but I don't really know how it's gonna bloom. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is actually the Plucky. This is Plucky Knitter. And I forget, but it was supposed to be sport, I believe, sport weight. Anyway, I'll put all the information in the description below. What to say about the pattern? It is quite straightforward. It's a little, I would say, it would definitely be for more advanced knitters. For example, so the body is, you know, there's no shaping, so it's very easy for anyone to follow, extremely easy. But the sleeves have decreases, as you can see, right? So the tricky part is that you have to keep the color work correct while working your decreases. So you have to sort of be able to do that without being told what color to use, like how to make it work. You sort of have the basic sort of, you know, color work pattern, and then you just have to figure out how it should go, incorporating those decreases. So just a heads up, if you wanted to work on this pattern, it's not hard, but I mean, you know, you have to be able to do that and to sort of figure it out by yourself. So yes, that is a very exciting project, and I will keep working on it as soon as I am done with my second work in progress, which is really a summer project, which I'm rushing to finish because it's basically almost fall here. Like, there's definitely a lot of signs of fall, and the project that I'm working on right now, as much as I can, is a very lightweight summery project. So let me show you all about that. So my next work in progress is the Tegna sweater by Caitlin Hunter. Let me grab it over here. It's always on the couch and these days. And so yeah, it's, you know, it's been knit maybe, I think there's like over 5,000 projects for this sweater on Ravelry. Like, it's very popular. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it, or maybe you've knit it yourself. Yeah, this is basically where I'm at. So I finished the lace hem, and I actually finished the body just yesterday, last night. And so obviously it's worked bottom up, and then I believe it's just a simple sort of, I think it's a drop sleeve. I'm not exactly sure, but it's, you know, this thing where you go up this way, and then I think you do a 3-needle bind off here, and then you pick up stitches around here, around the arm, and then you make a little sleeve just a little bit here. So it's supposed to have kind of a boxy look, and yeah, I've been trying to see what people have to say in the finished projects on Ravelry to see if there's anything I should look out for. I went for the medium size, which is basically what I would normally choose, but people warned that sleeves are quite tight, and so I'm toying with the idea of maybe adding a little, maybe an inch or something to the shoulder depth, so maybe knitting a little bit longer, so that I can then pick up more stitches around the armhole. And yeah, I've really enjoyed knitting the lace. It was a little bit, you know, slightly challenging. I'm not gonna lie, I made a few mistakes, but I used markers to separate the repeats, and I'm really glad that I took the time to do that, because then I could very easily spot any, you know, issues and fix them very quickly. And so all in all, I think that the mistakes will not be really that visible. And what else? I used, so the whole idea about knitting this, I mean, I've always liked this pattern, but I never really thought about knitting it until my mother sent me some really gorgeous yarn by, so I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Myak, it's M-Y-A-K, and the yarn is baby yak and silk, and it's just really, really gorgeous to knit. It's very soft, but at the same time there's a really nice stitch definition because I think of the silk content, and I really like the drape of it. I think it'll work really well for this particular design, which, you know, the idea is to kind of have it slightly oversized but still a nice drape so that it doesn't look like a potato sack, you know. So I used this yarn, and the colorway is kind of a slightly pinkish terracotta, and the colorway is called Melograno. And yeah, it's really nice. Actually, I think I have a skein to show you. Hold on. So yeah, let's see. So it's called Naturally Soft, Ethically Sourced, and it's 50% baby yak, 50% silk, and yeah, it has a really nice sheen. It will bloom and drape, slink and shine. The result is a soft and light fabric, perfect for your favorite warm weather garments and accessories. So I guess that I assumed that this would be more of a summery yarn because of the way it looks, but I think it'll be a little bit on the warmer side, which is fine with me. Either way is fine. My only issue that I'm having is that I really don't have that much of it. I am hoping that it'll be enough. Definitely it will be enough to do sort of a tank top version where you don't even attach the sleeves. You just kind of do this, like, you know, this sort of semi cap sleeve shape where the shoulder basically drops slightly, and so it produces a bit of a cap sleeve. I might just have enough for that, or I might have enough for a short additional sleeve, like a t-shirt, which is kind of a bummer because my idea was to make this with longer sleeves. So not full length, but maybe elbow length, like to here. I was envisioning sort of a nice, very fitted sleeve with this kind of swingy shape for the rest of the garment, and I think that would be something I would wear a lot. So I will see, and you know, if not, I will also see if I can buy more of this yarn locally. We'll see. But so yes, I've been working on this quite a bit, and that's why the other sweater, the Colorwork sweater, has been on hold, because I want to finish this so I can, you know, get some wear out of it before the weather gets too cold. The pattern so far has been, you know, really nice, professionally done, obviously, like nicely written, no mistakes so far that I could spot. And it's just, again, really nice to work from other people's patterns. I'm really enjoying it so much. And I also was thinking that so far I've been kind of sticking to really well-known designers, you know, Stephen West, Ambah O'Brien, Caitlin Turner, Camilla Vad. Like, all these people are really very big names, and I was thinking it might be nice if I kind of try to choose some things to knit from maybe less well-known designers. So I don't know, like, I'm actually starting to think about the next project I'm going to put on the needles. And if you have any suggestions, like any of your favorite designers that are not like, you know, huge names, but, you know, still relatively established, meaning like at least they have a good track record of making error-free patterns, or, you know, sort of professionally done patterns, then I would love your recommendations in the comment below. Like, who's your favorite designer? Like, anyone that you can recommend. I think that that would be interesting for all of us to sort of see, that maybe we'll discover some names that we don't really know, and just add some patterns to our queues on Ravelry or, you know, elsewhere. So my third work in progress is a sock pattern, which I'm really not used to making socks. I think I've knitted like 2 pairs of socks in my life before this one. This is not at all something that I knit usually. And I don't know why, really, because I love hand knit socks. Like, I would love to have a nice collection of hand knit socks to wear all winter long. And you know, sometimes I'll see people who on Instagram who do this sort of sock challenge or something, and they show off at the end of the year like this wonderful like drawer full of hand knit socks that are nicely rolled, like, you know, Marie Kondo style, and it just looks so nice, and I'm so envious. And so I thought, well, you should try and knit some socks. So I've been working on the Saxe Point socks by Andrea Rangel, and I've knit 1.5, so let me show you. Ta-da! They're not blocked or anything, right? But it's you know, this really cool sort of self-striping situation here, with this really fun Colorwork cuff here. And yeah, I'm really excited by it. And the fun thing too is that the other sock will not be exactly the same. Let me show you. Because of course I'm randomly continuing on this ball of yarn, self-striping yarn, and so it's not gonna look the same, but I actually kind of like that. I think it's really fun. So this is the other sock. So see, so they're gonna be like my crazy multicolored socks, but I mean, it works well together. I think it's cool. Yeah, so this is a toe up sock with I guess you start, you know, with what's her name again? Judy's Judy's Magic Cast On or something, I forget. But you know which one I mean. I think it's pretty common for socks. And then you go and you make your increases, and then you do this afterthought heel. So basically, you put some, like, you basically mark where the heel's gonna be with some scrap yarn that you'll then remove, and then you'll put these stitches here, the live stitches, you put on one needle and another needle, and then you sort of work it, you work the heel in the round like this. Let me show you this. So you pick up your stitches at the end and then you work your heel. Right? And then at the end you close it with Kitchener. So anyway, and then of course you end with a nice stretchy, you know, bind off. And the nice thing also about this pair of socks is that there's shaping in the leg, so it's a little bit larger at the top, which makes it quite comfortable. So I don't really know if there's a best technique for, you know, toes. Do you prefer to do it cuff down or toe up, or like what's your favorite kind of heel? If you have any preferences, let me know in the comments and explain to me why you like it best, because then maybe I could, there's so many cool sock patterns out there that it would be nice to be able to pick patterns based on a particular technique once I figure out if I like it the best. Same thing, you know, if you have any particular sock pattern that you keep going to over and over again, I'm always happy to hear. I mean, there's been some suggestions on Instagram and here on the podcast, which is really nice, so keep them coming. I've been adding stuff to my queue. As far as the yarn that I used, the self-striping yarn that I used is by this German company called Kremke. Let me show you. It's Lazy Lion hand-dyed, super soft sock yarn from South African merino. So the name of the company, it's you can go to their website, kremkegarne.de. And I use this colorwork is called Venetian glass, which I think is quite well named. And this is another colorway, which the name of the colorway isn't on the label. I forget what it was, but this is a different colorway. But it's really nice. Like, I really like their yarns. And full disclosure, I actually got this yarn for free as part of a yarn support thing. I got these as sort of bonus skeins, which worked really well because I wanted to knit these particular socks, and it's basically perfect for the pattern. And so the other yarn that I used for the toe and the heel is an indie designer based, I believe, in California. I bought this in LA. These were mini skeins, and this is the logo. It's called the Dye Project, and this particular base is called Montara Sock. It's called a fat quarter because they're mini skeins. And this particular colorway is called Riptide. It's this really nice sort of aqua color. So yeah, and you know, yeah, the colorwork part is really fun. I forget what I use for this dark blue here. I think maybe a Melograno leftover Arroyo maybe. I'm not sure what it was. But this has been fun. I've been using this as a kind of you know, portable project that, you know, if I go have a coffee with someone, I'll just bring this. The only problem I'm having is that it's a little bit tricky for me to see what I'm doing because those stitches are really small. It's very fine gauge, and I really think I need glasses, and I don't really have any, and this is starting to be a problem. I can't really knit these in the evening anymore, so that's a little bit sad, but yeah. So that's about it for my works in progress. And now I can't really show you the rest, but I will talk to you a little bit about what I have in mind for my new collection. So, as many of you probably know, my last collection was inspired by The Hobbit by Tolkien. I'm a big fan of this whole Lord of the Rings series, and I had so much fun sort of jumping off this sort of concept as a starting point and trying to think of how it would translate into children's clothing without being, you know, too literal or costumey, but just trying to think, okay, how can I make something that's really useful, kind of simple. Again, I don't like things to be too fussy, but sort of like where the inspiration is clear. And so I had a lot of fun with that, and I think you guys, my customers, have had fun sort of with this theme also. So this time around, I thought I would go back to another huge sort of influence that I've had since I was really a child, and that is the works of Agatha Christie. Ever since I was maybe, I don't know, I want to say 9 years old, maybe even younger. I'm not sure exactly when I started reading, you know, Agatha Christie novels, but very early on, I would read that before bedtime, and it's become sort of this, almost like this comfort thing where before bed, I'll just reread an old Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple novel, which, you know, I've read all of them. All the Agatha Christie novels that exist, I have read them several times. And I still sometimes forget exactly how, you know, who did it. Usually I remember, but how it was done, or like there's always something that I forget. And so it's fun to sort of reread and rediscover the whole plot puzzle, you know. So, you know, that's one thing that attracted me to it since, you know, a very young age, is this puzzle aspect, you know, more so than the, you know, the sort of scary aspect. Like, I'm not a fan of scary novels or scary anything really. Like, I don't like horror films or anything like that. But the puzzle thing was always what attracted me. And also the other thing, of course, was sort of this sort of, you know, what they call the cozy British village setting, and this vintage vibe, and the way people lived and were dressed, and their little sort of habits, and the fact that you're kind of transported to this other era. So anyway, that was the starting point of this idea, sort of diving into the whole era thing, where I don't do something again that's costumey, that's correct. You know, I'm not trying to do sort of reproductions of vintage patterns. I do want to do modern things that are relevant to children of today, but just sort of like a little wink to something that I know a lot of us have read, and across the world, you know, it's been translated in every conceivable language. So yeah, and trying to think, okay, like, what can I do starting from this, and just having fun with it. And I hope that you'll enjoy it. I've already sort of planned out my collection. I've already done, let's see, 3 designs. One is actually being test knit right now, and I'm really excited about the projects that are starting to be finished. And the second one, I just finished the 2 samples for it today, and it's written up. And basically the idea is to do, I think, 2 ebooks. So it'll be a volume 1 and a volume 2. And it'll be only garments. I'm not planning on doing any accessories, which of course, you know, is unusual for ebooks. I think usually, you know, there's like maybe 2 or 3 garments and then a couple accessories. No, I'm gonna do only garments, fully graded, you know, 3 months old to 10 years old as usual. So it's quite a bit of work, but I think that I hope that you'll be happy. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. It's really fun. I have all the yarn sourced, and right now I'm trying to figure out the flat lays, you know, to take the pictures, trying to find little props, and it's just so much fun. So I'm loving it. I hope you like it. I can't wait to show you. And until the next time, I guess I'll say happy knitting, And I'm sure next time I do a podcast video, the first pattern should be out, and so you can tell me what you think. And I can start showing you actual, things that I've been working on for the past few weeks. So take care and see you next time.